Threat intelligence is becoming an increasingly important component in combating emerging cyber exploits. One such threat intelligence provider is Cyble, a company that monitors both the dark web and surface web data and attempts to mitigate companies' digital risk footprints. The company has built custom threat hunting solutions for customers, including government agencies and Fortune 50 brands, and claims to have visibility into over 6,000 darknet marketplaces. I have been joined today by Beenu Arora, co founder and CEO of Cyble, to discuss how the company is protecting enterprises from malicious actors and what are its future plans. Beenu, welcome to this conversation.
Thanks for the introduction, Ashwini, and appreciate you for hosting me today.
Absolute honor and delight to have you for this conversation, Beenu. Let me start off this conversation by asking you in terms of if you could take us through Cyble's tech platform and how are you helping protect enterprise users from existing and emerging threats in the cyberspace?
Absolutely, Ashwini. So, Cyble offers a SaaS-based offering through the products called Cyble Vision and Cyble Hawk. And what we do is think of us like we are the eyes and ears of the security, team or organization, looking after the entire internet. So whether be it a conversation on social media platforms, or be it chit chats on different apps, or chit chats in the dark web, or any data being thrown out in the dark web, our job is to collect all the information which is outside or beyond the firewall, as I call it. Anything outside the firewall is what Cyber monitors for. Right. And what we've done over the period of 3.5 or 4 years now is the use of machine learning and AI to cut the noise from the platform and provide actionable intelligence to the customers or the enterprises. So that's what we offer in the marketplace.
Absolutely. So, being the eyes and ears of security teams, that's very essential in today's time. And you touched upon providing actionable insights. Again, very important. So I believe the times have changed where organizations are no longer looking at being reactive. Proactive is what, when I talk to CISOs, that's what, that's where we see them heading to. I was reading one of your articles and, I came across this line wherein Cyble is on a mission to democratize cybersecurity. Could you just elaborate on this piece and also what kind of initiatives around cybersecurity are you planning to have?
I think the fundamental or the thesis which we follow as a company or as the founders of the organization is not just building a technical capability which can help organizations to better understand the threats and be able to mitigate against them, but also how we can make that platform available to a larger community. So today, Cyble has got at least 3 platforms out there, and I'm sure in the future there's going to be more releases coming out. But those 3 platforms, such as amibreach.com, which is a data breach notification platform for the end consumer. We have Odin, or you can access that through getodin.com, which is the Cyble's own proprietary internet scanning capability available to everybody on the planet. And not just that, we also offer cutting-edge security journal in the marketplace through the Cyber Express to make sure that we are able to share the information with the researchers, academia, and also the CXO community on the recent and latest threats which are happening out there. So the fundamentals are all about, while we are building a technical capability for addressing the needs of the CISOs or the CXO groups, at some point we will also start releasing the consumer-centric focused products as well, so they can also utilize the capability which we are building through, if not months, years of research, and make it accessible to everybody on the planet. So whenever Cyble is building any capability or any platform, the end users are always going to be, or have been so far, is everybody on the planet. And that's why I call it making it accessible to everybody, anywhere, anytime. So today, like amibreach.com, that product is already being used by more than 110,000 users globally. The Cyber Express, we have more than 4 million impressions a month, where we have tens of thousands of subscribers. Real users reading the content which we are publishing out on a daily basis. And then Odin, which was launched literally, I think 4 to 5 weeks ago. We already are touching almost 1,000 users over there. And
Okay.
then the whole idea is all about, Cyber end goal is always going to be everybody on the planet. So we are not, here just to, make a quick recipe just to serve the enterprises and keep them happy. At some point, a lot of our capabilities, we will make them accessible to everybody on the planet. That's what the path we have taken already.
Right, you touched upon the AI and ML piece, Beenu, and we have been in awe of generative AI that have for the last 1 year or so. How do you see the whole generative AI momentum, strengthen both a company's cyber defense arsenal as well as a provider? How are you using these capabilities?
I've been, a machine learning and an AI programmer since 2011. It's the first time when I publish a code and release some of my own softwares. But what has happened in the last 3 years, especially with some of the companies or such as OpenAI, I mean, they have literally transformed, torn apart the entire landscape. If I have to be very honest about it, I mean, more importantly, the capability using the generative, AI or using large language models, which Chat GPT, other platforms are offering, and there are quite a few, by the way. Now it's not just one; there are many now. I think what they have given us is basically the same inflection point when the cloud computing came in the industry. When
Right.
everybody wasn't sure how is this going to change the industry, this is the real, the next phase of industrialization. Purely, the use of AI and how it is enabling us or any company for that matter is that you don't have to be an AI expert these days. There are off-the-shelf models which are available. There's obviously commercial models available using OpenAI, Claude, and so many other companies doing the same. And what they can do is they can basically tear apart the data and then give you the insights which you're looking for. And looking at how it is reflecting on our industry as a cybersecurity platform, I mean, there's going to be a number of companies who's going to go bankrupt in the next 24, 36 months.
Okay.
And the reason behind is a large part of the security industry comprises of security analysts,
Right.
whose job is merely about collecting information from different places and aggregate it and make sense out of it. That entire piece is gonna get automated. I mean, the data pipelines, I mean, Cyble is already working on those data pipelines where we are also seeing a humongous gain in the efficiency on how we do our day-to-day, ops. But more importantly, this is the point where the entire open source intelligence agency industry, even the malware researchers or threat researchers, it's gonna make them better. If they are not going to embrace it, they will cease to exist. And I think that is the message which I literally gave in one of the recent internal town halls as well. That Gen AI, it is not the future. This is the present. If we do not embrace it, we will cease to exist. And most of the smart organizations today, I also count Cyble as one of the smart organization, full disclosure. I think they are very much keen to ride on that new wave, this new technological advancement, which is enabling, it's like the entire infrastructure is sitting on a code now. You don't need to have, PhD degree or anything like that. Anybody, literally anybody can go and create their own custom GPTs. You can train the models and then you can go bazooka on that part. So as you can understand from my excitement, I'm super pumped up, when it comes to the, the evolution of Gen AI. And I think there is also different news that Chat GPT 5 is also coming out. And I think that's just gonna, create another wave of, disruption in this whole industry, which I think this industry was needing it for a lot of time. Cybersecurity is a complicated industry to start with. I mean, there's a bunch of tools. There's so many different tools out there, so many companies out there. There's so many single point solutions sitting out there. I think what this capability can do is it's the integration. Which
That's
is
very essential.
Exactly. And I think the end winner is still going to be the CISOs or the CXO community or the end customer. They're going to get the best outcome out of it. And one of the thesis when we raised our Series B is all about how we can embrace the next evolution of AI and make it accessible at scale to all the enterprises and the consumers.
Absolutely right. So you raised some quite valid points here, Beenu. And while you're talking about, in a way, you have rung some alarm bells within your sector as well, and it is across industries. I would say, just on the piece of generative AI and AI capabilities. Now, we have also seen cyber attackers becoming more intuitive, more smart, and they are using the same set of tools and capabilities like the defenders. Now, how does good AI fight with bad AI?
I don't think AI necessarily has any soul, whether be it good or bad. It's all about how you can train the soul, just like a human being. Nobody is born as a bad person or a good person. It's how you grow them, how you train them. That's what they become. And I think the interesting part is OpenAI, for an example, originally was an open source project.
Right.
But then because of certain, founders and other entities, issues, it actually had to become for profit to be able to, exist or survive. But what we are seeing parallelly is a number of universities, academia, researchers who are also releasing their own large language models out there. And they are, I would say, probably 50 to 70% of where ChatGPT is currently sitting on. Now, what it represents is that a lot of information is already out there. It's and a lot of companies are also creating their custom large language models, including Cyble for that matter. I think it all depends on the utility, on how the individuals or threat actors going to use it. The important aspect is generating all these, creating custom large language models today are still expensive.
True. Yes.
But at the same time, you have threat actors or certain threat actors who are quite well resourced. Like, for an example, you have ransomware groups like Lockbit, and there are some unconfirmed reports that they are making tens of millions of dollars a year. So those ransomware groups can afford, to build and automate the entire attack chain if they really want to. Same thing goes for state-sponsored actors where they don't have a resource constraint. So the real point here becomes is well-resourced entities, be it the enterprises or well-resourced startups or well-resourced threat actors, they will exploit this opportunity,
Right.
both for the good and the bad. What the concern I carry as a professional, and this is like the same challenge when cloud computing era was there. Initially, things were a little bit more expensive, and then over
Right.
the period of time, like the typical law which we follow, that the technology becomes cheaper every year. I think in the next 3 years, the AI will be fully democratized, which means it will be accessible to anybody and at a cheaper cost. And that's where you'll see a lot of commodity threats or organized criminal gangs will be able to access that technology
Right.
at a price point which makes it lucrative for them to use it or use it to conduct attacks. Today, we are seeing real life phishing emails which are collecting information from different sources, including LinkedIn or Facebook. And then what they do is they actually generate a phishing email with a lot of personalization. And the whole job used to be like it's a tradecraft. And I think what the hackers have learned is you can create an amazing weapon using the information collected from different sources, which eventually increases the probability of a successful attack.
Right.
And that's what hackers are looking for. So I think AI, it's again a good and bad sitting. It's like two swords in the same place.
Managed to raise around $30.2 million of capital, through Series V, and that too in a funding winter. What made this possible?
There are three reasons. For some reason, there's always three reasons for why it happened. I think the first and foremost is the growth of the organization itself. So Cyble has been growing at over 300%, growth year on year since its inception.
Right.
And we work with some of the largest Fortune 500 companies globally, including with several organizations based out of India as well. So there's a lot of validations which the customer has kind of rewarded us in this journey, which is obviously a very important aspect. And I think the second part is the use of ML and AI on the platform. So this is an area where I think our industry has been it's a bit of a lag, which we have observed or felt that we don't often use smart models to cut the noise or produce the most relevant, events or security threats to the customer. And Cyble has done a pretty decent job in there, something which we also prove it from a technical validation perspective. That's the second reason. And the third, and probably the most important part, the Cyble roadmap is actually pretty comprehensive. We have plans for the next 15 years. So today, Cyble is monitoring the internet. Maybe at some point, Cyble will also touch other parts of the ecosystem. An ecosystem is pretty complicated, right? So you have cloud, endpoint, email, all different places out there. And our ultimate vision is to bring a single view, a single pane of glass, which I know sounds cliche, but that's what we are working towards. Where the customers don't have to jump through a number of different platforms. They can get everything from one place. Think of it like a super app for cybersecurity. I think that's what really is the kind of the thesis which we are working towards. I think one of the other important aspect to the whole equation, you can have a vision to actually go to another galaxy, but how are you going to do it? I think the how part is a team which we have assembled. Today, Cyble has almost 200 people, across 12 countries, serving customers in over 25 countries. And we brought in some of the amazing talent, people who have been in this industry for at least a decade, who have not just been a CISO, but people who have built, some of the other leading solutions in the marketplace and created an impact or disrupted the industry. So the team which we have assembled are the real rock stars.
So in a way, you have a well-defined vision, which is very important, and the acceptance that you have gained from the enterprise space. I guess that has also ensured that the solutions that you have holds value for them. How are you planning to use the proceeds of this funding? Any particular thing that you would want to share here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I think the first part is, Cyble is an engineering organization. We invest, we do a lot of experimentation when it comes to not just creating the smart AI models, but also more importantly, on how we can improve the platform capability in order to serve the customer better than what they were served yesterday. And we have a pretty large engineering team. So the first, aspect of the entire funding round is to continue to invest in our data engineering and AI capabilities. That's given. That's the fundamentals there. The second part is how, supercharging our go-to-market. Now, having a wonderful solution, and if you're not able to take it to a customer, that doesn't help either. So today, Cyble is serving customers in more than 25 countries, and we want to really supercharge that. So there are, high growth and emerging markets such as the US, obvious one, and then you have Middle East, and the entire Asian region are the high growth markets for Cyble. And the third part is purely from a funding perspective, is also about the next iteration of the products. So today, Cyble has 5 products in the marketplace, including the enterprise and the enterprise offering Cyble Vision and the government offering Cyble Hawk. We are also in the process of creating the next, iteration of products, not just improving what we have, but also we are, experimenting with some of the other technologies where we can create or expand our addressable market size. So these are some of the areas which we will continue to experiment and drive forward for that.
Are you looking at any acquisitions or is it too early?
It's an opportunistic, aspect of inorganic growth. We are looking into some opportunities for sure, but we are not in acquisitive mode as such.
Right. One final question that I had for you, Beenu, and I thought I would get some insights from you here. We are nearing the end of the year, and what are some of the threats, which enterprises really need to be cautious about, moving into 2024?
Yeah, I think, the first concern which I have is the attack surface of the enterprises is growing at a very faster pace. Organizations are obviously embracing or have embraced cloud, and they are even going to the next level in terms of automations and using AI to further advance their operations. But that is also creating a lot of opportunities for the hackers as well to be able to break into them. So I think managing the attack surface is going to become a lot more important than it was previously. That's the first thing. The second part is, again, this is where, you would have seen a lot of ransomware attacks are currently ongoing, a lot of companies getting breached. In fact, in one of the funny instances, one of the ransomware group put a complaint to the US SEC reporting that they had them and they did not report to SEC. So
My goodness.
I think it was just ironic. Criminals are making legitimate complaints about it, but that's just again different side. But I think the key aspect is the ransomware attacks are, we expect them to increase in the next quarter, including in this one. And just to give you some context, every 24 hours there are at least 3 companies which are publicly reported to be breached by a ransomware attack in the last 3 months. So the attacks are growing at a really fast pace, and we don't see that to be slowing down. And the part of the reason why these attacks are happening is because the end users of these enterprises are getting compromised, and they end up selling or leaking their accesses in the dark web. So again, this is going to continue to happen. I think the third part is, we expect that there's going to be some major, or if I call it mega, data breaches. So Cyble generally has a reputation that they come to know about the breaches before the world comes to know about it.
Right.
And you can safely assume that I may have some information which is pertaining to certain large or mega data breaches. Those will eventually become public. And when they become public, then there is going to be like a chaos. Data breaches are going to become a lot more prominent. They're going to become a massive in size. And that's going to put a lot of people's personal information at risk. And that has a direct correlation to the phishing attacks or phishing scams which people are experiencing. I think in India alone, an average user get at least 1 call a day about some scam they get a call for.
Right.
And we know for the fact that these are going to further accelerate. So these phone scams, phishing scams, or smishing scams, these will accelerate in the marketplaces.
So the mega data breach was scary. Yes. So ransomware, yes, many of them know that that's an ongoing thing that is happening. But right, Beenu, thank you so much for your time and your insights and sharing your thoughts and views on cybersecurity. It was great to have this conversation with you.
Well, thank you so much again for listening to my point, Ashwini, and again, thank you so much for hosting us today. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you, Beenu.